Hello, my dearest friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt, and welcome to a brand new reading vlog from me. A reading vlog where I'm going to be reading different kinds of hockey romances that have been on my TBR. I'm going to clue you in on what's going to happen, but firstly, I want to thank Vanessa from Read with Dr. B for inviting me because this is a collaboration video with other booktubers. I'm going to be linking everyone's information in the description so you can check out their videos as well. So Vanessa came up with the idea that we gather up our TBR when it comes to hockey romances, and I love hockey romances, so I immediately decided to participate in this collaboration video. I have so many on my list, and what I'm going to do right now is read through, I think I gathered like 10 or 11 books that are on my audio library through Storytel. So I already have so many to choose from. And I'm going to figure out on the basis of the synopsis which ones I'm going to be reading for this vlog. I don't know how many I'm going to be doing because right now, what is it today? It's the start of February. So this vlog is going to be coming out at the start of March, but February is a short month and I have other books that I need to read as well. So I may do 3 books maybe. I'm not sure how many I'm going to get to, but I'm just going to go off of the list that I have here and see how many I can squeeze into this vlog. And honestly, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of b-roll because in the winter it's cold here, it's miserable, so mostly I'm at home. I don't have any specific plans for doing anything fancy, but you're going to be seeing me reading all these books, and that's why we're here. So anyway, I'm going to clue you in on all of the books that I have on this list. The first one being Endgame by G.A. Mazurki, who is actually, this is the pen name for Serena Akeroyd. I've read other Serena Akeroyd books before. I've enjoyed them, so I have high hopes for this one. And just a side note, the start of February has been a great month for me, specifically as a reader, because what happened was Storytel decided to upload like 100+ audiobooks that are specifically in the romance category. So many different books that have been on my TBR came out as audiobooks through Storytel. So now I have them available to me, and this is actually one of them. I'm so happy. I have so many books now that I get to read as an audiobook through Storytel. This is in no way, shape, or form sponsored by Storytel, by the way. I just keep on mentioning Storytel here and there, but this is because I mainly use the subscription service to get my audiobooks. I'm very thankful for it. So I'm going to look into Endgame by G.A. Mazurki, I think the last name is pronounced. What I know about this one is I think it's a friends to lovers situation where I think the heroine is the guy's best friend's sister, I think. So I'm going to, I think, read this one because Friends to Lovers is one of my favorite tropes. And this one, like I mentioned, has been on my TBR for quite some time. And then another one that has been on my radar because it was quite popular on BookTube is Offside by Avery Keelan. Now, I don't remember anymore what the tropes were of Offside, but let me just quickly look it up. So Offside by Avery Keelan. It now has this very cute illustrated cover that looks great. It has a 3.86 rating. It says an addictive college hockey romance, heartbreak or troublemaker, my ex's biggest rival. That sounds interesting. And if I look at who has read it out of my friends that I'm following, we've got Tori from Novel Life. She gave it 4.5 stars. Christy gave it 5 stars. McKay from Awaits. McKay gave it 4.5 stars. Jess from Peace Love Books gave it 3.5 stars. Interesting. We got Lacey. She gave it 3 stars. Victoria gave it 2 stars. So there's a bit of a mixed bag of reviews on here when it comes to the people I follow. But this has been on my TBR again for a very long time. And seeing as that it is an ex's rival situation, it has me intrigued. So I think I'm going to bump this up to see if I can get to it in this vlog. Then we've got Meet Me in the Penalty Box by Callie Mel. This came out with the audiobooks that I told you about through Storytel. That's why it caught my attention. It has another cutesy kind of illustrated cover. Ooh! It has 3.32 rating on Goodreads. I think I'm going to leave this off of my list. Just going to put an X on here because I'm not interested in reading something that has a rating below 3.6, honestly. Then we've got another book that has been on my radar. This is called The Fucking Wrong Number. Who read this? Who read this? And I put it on my TBR. The Fucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane is the author. This one also has 3.55. Oh my gosh. I see Antonella. She gave it 4 stars. Tori gave it 2 stars. Victoria gave it 2 stars. Cynthia gave it 3 stars. Lacey gave it 4 stars. Larry gave it 3 stars. It's kind of a mixed bag again, so I'm very hesitant about this one. I'm going to put it in potentially, maybe. But I think out of the 10 books, I'll probably find better options. So I think this will be crossed off as well. We've got a book by Jay Wilder, Rules of Our Own. So I've read a Jay Wilder book before, and I think that one was a hockey romance as well. Yeah, I see that I read Rule Number 5, and I gave that one 3 stars. So I'm not sure if I should be picking up the next one up because it's called Rules of the Game. And that one has a similar kind of rating on Goodreads. So maybe this one is also going to be a cross. So not on this list. And then I have a book that I'm very interested in because I just recently read the first book within the series, and the audiobook is performed in duet. So I'm very much looking forward to reading more books done in duet style. This is by Piper Rain. The second book is called Mr. Broody. And it's a hockey romance with what kind of tropes? Ooh, I've loved Henry since I was 7 years old. We've gone from best friends to lovers to nothing. So this is probably a second chance romance. And I know Jen from the Book Refuge read this. Yeah, she gave it 5 stars. Yeah, I'm putting this on the list. I was already intrigued because I just recently read the first one. So I'm definitely putting this on the list. So currently we've got 3 books, Endgame, Offside, and Mr. Broody. I actually have 2, 4, 6 more books on my list here. Should I mention them? I'm going to mention them, so maybe you can look them up and see whether you've read them or want to read them. We've got Body Check by Tegan Hunter. I actually think I saw Caitlin from the Love Librarian read this at some point or another. Body Check, Tegan Hunter. On Goodreads, it has a 3.778 rating. And I see, so Christy gave it 4 stars. The other Christy gave it 4 stars. Yeah, Caitlin gave it 4 stars. Steph from Novelty Corner gave it 4 stars. And she is an avid hockey romance reader, so I definitely just trust her judgment. So we've got, I have 2 goals this season, and that is be named the captain of the Seattle Serpents. And the second goal is to stay single, which I'm sure he doesn't. So I'm going to put this on my TBR just for probably a future video, but not for this one. The next book is Skating the Blue Line by Jocelyn Soto. Now, I've read Jocelyn Soto before, and I've read a Mafia series by this author. I've read other books by this author, and I've enjoyed them. I've mostly given them 3.5, 4 stars. So that's why this book is on my list. It has 3.68 as a rating. I don't see anyone from my friends that has read or rated this book. It says hockey romance, new adult. I think the heroine is a ballerina and the guy is a hockey player. I don't know. I'm going to leave this off, obviously, for another point in time. I'm going to give it a try because I have enjoyed Jocelyn Soto's writing before. So let's give it a try another time. And then another book that has been on my radar because This is a hockey romance where we've got a black love romance. It's by Deanna Gray. It's called Team Players. This one has an illustrated cover that I saw through Storytel because it got uploaded as an audiobook as well. I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna see the rating first. 3.87. Only Steph from Novelty Corner has read this from my friends and she gave it 4 stars. That is good. Resident Playboy Samson Morgan thinks he can beat me at my own game. The hockey captain truly believes he can stop playing the field for longer, then I can start having one night stands. Ooh. This smells like a he falls first kind of situation to me, and I love that. So, this is definitely a book that I'm going to want to read in the future. Then we've got Take the Lead by Jacqueline Snow. So, the cover gives me kind of like retro vibes. I don't know why, but it has 3.82 as a rating on Goodreads. I see that none of my friends have read this. It's a new adult hockey romance. Falling for my fake girlfriend was never part of the plan. So this is a fake dating hockey romance. I'm gonna save this for another time. I've read a few fake dating romances in the past couple of weeks, so I'm not really in the mood for one at the moment. And then we've got Tell Me Lies by Hannah Gray. What is this one? I don't remember this one. Oh, wow. This one actually has the highest rating out of all the books I pulled up. It's 4.04 on Goodreads. And it's a single dad hockey romance. And none of my friends have read this or rated this. It came out in October 2024, so it's a recent release as well. And what do we have here? Single father. My daughter's nanny gives her 2 weeks' notice. So this is going to be a single dad nanny romance with a hockey player. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this in this vlog. I don't know which of the books that I mentioned I'm going to read. I'm not going to read, but this one I'm going to read because I love single dad nanny romances. So I'm definitely reading Endgame. I'm reading Tell Me Lies by Hannah Gray. And then one of the two, which is Offside by Avery Keelan and Mr. Broody by Piper Rain. So you know what's going to happen? I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to read Piper Rain's book, and I possibly won't read Avery Keelan's book because Offside, I saw, is a very long audiobook. If I'm not mistaken, on one time speed, it's like 17 hours, which for me is crazy for a contemporary romance. So I'm definitely reading the 3 books, Endgame, Mr. Broody, and Tell Me Lies. And then if I can squeeze in Offside, I may do so, but I'm not holding myself to that because I have other books to read this month as well. So this is going to be my list of books for this reading vlog, for this collaboration. I'm going to clue you in on my thoughts when I have started the books. I think I'm going to start with Endgame because that one I think came out last, so I have it on my list as first. So I'm going to update you as soon as I can. You guys, a quick update already because I had my lunch break just now and I listened to about an hour of Endgame. What a start to a book. We've got in the prologue a situation where the hero seems to have been kidnapped and he is a pro hockey player, so he has the money to pay ransom, but he doesn't have anyone close to him to actually pay the ransom. So that's how the prologue starts. But then in chapter 1, we're 6 months later or something like that, and he has already escaped or out, or I don't know what happened with the kidnapping, but obviously he's no longer in captivity. He is with some family friends celebrating some kind of a special occasion or whatever. And already in like chapter 2, we've got the hero and heroine having sex. And I'm like, what's going on here? I mean, in situations where we have romances with sex scenes within 10% of the book, and it's not just the one night stand hookup situation, I'm like, what is going on? What are we doing here? And in this instance, what we have as a story is they're best friends, essentially. And they have this drunken one night stand where the hero remembers everything and the heroine doesn't. The heroine thinks that what happened was a dream. So she doesn't really kind of acknowledge that they slept together. He's a pro hockey player. There are some chapters where we get the buildup of how they're best friends. And then at some point, he gets traded to the hockey team that is based in New York, where she is located. So basically, they're going to have more interaction together. And the thing is, there are certain things in this book that made me reminisce about books that I used to read in like the 2014, 2015 period. Like during the first sex scene, the heroine, obviously she's drunk, so I can excuse what she's saying with that. But then we also get other instances of such type of description when it comes to sexual chemistry. She said something like, "Oh my God, Liam, what is this Anna freaking Conda thing you have in your pants?" And I'm like, cringe. I don't know. I just don't vibe with this kind of a description for the male anatomy. And I'm pushing through. I'm pushing through because typically I really love the best friends to lovers trope. And we're getting more and more backstory of why they haven't really moved in on their feelings by this time, because they're, I think, in their 30s, if I'm not mistaken, or late 20s or something. And then obviously they've been best friends for a long time since they were teenagers. And I don't know, the build up for me is really interesting because we definitely get the pining hero, someone who is definitely more in tune with his feelings for the heroine. While the heroine, she does have feelings for him, but she is doing everything she can to keep it hidden. And she is behaving really in a way where she's making him feel like she views him as a sibling. And that is the thing that kind of frustrates me a little bit, because I can understand that you want to keep your feelings hidden. But at the same time, taking this much of an effort to make him feel like he's your sibling makes it a bit weird afterward, if you know what I mean. I don't know, at least this is my feeling about such a situation. Anyway, they have banter between them. She, I think, at some point is going to be working for him, because I think she just got fired from her, or at least she quit her current job. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to just reading more to see if I'm going to enjoy it more than what I have been in the past hour that I've been listening. And this one actually is a bit of a longer audiobook. I think like the full audiobook is like 14 hours. So let's wait out and see. I don't plan on DNFing it for now. But if it becomes really cringy, then I might put it down. Let's just see. Let's just see how it goes.
Hello, dear friends. It is snowing. I love the snow. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but this winter we haven't had a lot of it. So I'm just really happy that it's snowing and that I get to see it one more time before it becomes spring. I was just filming a couple of days ago, but I won't put that clip in the vlog because I don't know. I'm just not going to put it in, but there were these spring flowers growing already in some of the gardens here around the neighborhood, and then we get snow. How weird. Anyway, I'm gonna update you when I get home on my progress with Endgame, and I'm also reading Book Shy by Kayla Gross, which is another hockey themed Valentine's Day novella, so you're gonna get an update from me soon. Hello, dearest friends. I have a day to myself, or at least a couple of hours to myself, so I thought I'd update you with this reading vlog because there's not a lot of things that I've been doing for this vlog to be any fun. But I am going to be running some errands today because the end of February and start of March we've got a couple of birthdays going on with my family and friends, and I need to prepare for that. One of my best friends has a birthday upcoming week and we're going to be painting with wine. She invited me on a girl's birthday night out, and I'm going to be buying her birthday present now. I'm at the local mall over here where I'm going to be buying her gift, and I'm also going to be scouting for some presents for my son because he's going to be turning 6 at the start of March. So a trip to the mall was necessary today because it's the weekend, and during the week I simply don't have the time or energy to go to the mall because it's also really cold this week. So after a full days of work I just want to be at home. I don't want to move from the couch. So I'm going to be showing you some things here in the mall because one of the wonderful things about where I'm living is that we have a lot of traditions, and one of them is when March starts we've got something called Grandma March, which is like a tradition where we exchange bracelets and different kinds of like brooches to commemorate the upcoming start of spring. And I'm going to show you quickly. Let me just show you. This is where you can buy some of them, and also in the mall itself you can buy some. There are some really pretty ones like bracelets and stuff, and I'm going to be buying some, we call them martiničky, for some of my family and friends. I'm going to be mailing some over to my friends and family in some different countries. So I just need to figure out where I need to stop by here at the mall and finish my errands today. Then I'm going to go to a venue where I'm going to be reserving my son's birthday party. So that needs to happen as well today. So I've got a full agenda. I'm going to take you with me to a few of the things that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to update you on some reading later on. So I went into one of the shops where I thought I'm going to find the gift from my girlfriend, but I couldn't find it because we're in the middle of winter, and what she asked for is some sunscreen protection because she's going on a holiday to Dubai, and there it's going to be like 35 degrees when she goes, so she needs it. And I thought, okay, she's making it easy for me, but now that I'm in the mall, I'm figuring out that it's not a very easy task to find sunscreen in the winter. But there is a Sephora somewhere around the corner here. I'm going to try it in Sephora. And I have one more thing that I need to pick up, which is, I think my copy of Deep End has come in, and I'm going to pick it up in a moment and show you the copy. And the Sephora is here, so I'm going to see if I can find the sunscreen that she prefers over there. And yeah, I'm gonna see whether I can show you something here. Okay, so Sephora was another bust, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else. I'm probably going to order this sunscreen online, and I'm gonna just check real quick if I can find a copy of a good book, just as an alternative, just in case. But I think I'm going to be able to order it online and see how I'm going to be able to get her something that she really needs. And I'm just going to go up and get my book instead. So I'm going to show you that in a second. So I got my copy of Deep End over here. I think it's Deep End because I actually ordered Deep End and First Time Color by B.K. Borson, but I think it's Deep End that came here because B.K. Borson's book was supposed to take 2 weeks or something like that, so it's not here yet, I think. And I went back to Sephora to ask, like, how should I find sunscreen? They said like they had some sunscreen but not the preferred brands that my friend uses, so they told me that I can simply order it online and either pick it up from there or just order it to be delivered at home. So I'm just gonna do that when I get home. I'm gonna order it online and kind of save myself the trip to come back here. And now I'm just going to go to the toy store to check out some possible gifts for my son, because I don't know what to buy him this year, to be quite honest, and everyone is going to ask me like what to buy him, and I don't know yet. So I'm just going to look for some options, and then I'm going to go to the venue to pre-book the time slot for the birthday party. So wish me luck. Let me tell you one more thing. In March we've got Women's Day on the 8th of March, and it's a very current thing to gift someone Lego flowers. So all the shops that are selling Legos will have these arrangements of Lego flowers for Women's Day and also for Valentine's Day just before. So it's really pretty, isn't it? Maybe I should ask my partner for some. I don't know, I'm influenced right now. Hello dear friends, it's time for a new update, because I haven't been really good about updating you when it comes to what I've actually been reading during this time. I've actually finished Endgame by G.A. Mazurki, I don't know how you pronounce the last name. It's actually Sarzana Aykroyd, who is the author, who is writing under a pen name for this one. I also finished 2 days ago the novella that I hadn't planned on picking up, but then I picked it up around Valentine's Day because it's a Valentine's Day novella, but it's also a hockey romance. And then I thought, well, I need to include it in this vlog because it's obviously suitable for what we're talking about here. And that novella is Puck Shy by Kayla Gross. And I also have started Mr. Broody, which is an audiobook by Piper Rain. This is the second book within a series by Piper Rain that I had read the first book around like Christmas time. I enjoyed it because it's done in duet narration. This one is also done in duet narration, so I have an update for you on this one as well. But before I do that, I'm quite proud of myself because yesterday I was showing you that I went around the mall to pick up some gifts for my friend and scout out some gifts for my son, but it turned out to be a trip for almost nothing because I only got to pick up this book over here. I was luckily able to order her gift online. I ordered it yesterday and it's already coming through tomorrow, I think. I also ordered The Right Move for her, which is the List Down 40 favorite, and I hope that she loves it as well. And it's going to be here tomorrow as well, so I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. And her gift is essentially ready. But then my son, on the other hand, I'm having a really difficult time, honestly, because he is at an age where there's plenty to pick from, but at the same time I want it to be something educational, not just games and stuff, because obviously he has plenty of those, but I want him to be as curious as he can about school and stuff. So I'm going to see what I'm going to choose. I'm going to be scoping out different options. And before I go on to talk about the hockey books, I wanted to see the copy that I got of Deep Ends by Ali Hazelwood. I got it yesterday, so it is here. And it's the sprayed edges one. I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Let me just go ahead and show you. It's Deep End, it has the sprayed edges, and it has little drops of, I don't know if you can see them, like the glossy part. They're so good. And it's so pretty. What does it say here? It says here, this one has to be for the Amsterdam. Oh, this is so good, so on point and on theme for me. I'm so happy that I got a copy of this one. I think I'm going to at some point reread this and maybe annotate it because I really enjoyed this book. But this is not a book that we're going to talk about here because it's not a hockey romance. So let me continue with the book update for Endgame by G.A. Mazurki. This book was so many things, and I don't think that it really committed to being one singular kind of a romantic
development kind of a thing. It really had so many tropes in it that it kind of became too much. At least it was a lot for me. To really consider it a very successful kind of a romance. I mean, the romance part was not a problem. It was really the different kind of plot points that were thrown in for the story to kind of work, and none of them were really flushed out to the end or very well. So for me, it was kind of redundant that so many tropes were thrown into the book. So we've got, I don't know how much I updated you about this book in the previous clip because it's been a while, but essentially this book is about two main characters who have been friends since they were children. They were actually friends first, but then the guy, he became best friends with the heroine's brother. So she kind of took a background position in the relationship kind of formation when they were teenagers. He always had a thing for her, she had a thing for him, but the thing was that all of her brothers, they were famous hockey players, or they were on the trajectory to become famous hockey players, and she felt like she was within her family the one who was left behind because all of the focus was on her brothers. And she was like, I don't know, I just need to make something that is just only for me. Like, I need to map out my future based on what I want, and I don't want anyone interfering with what I want to do with my life. So she moved from Canada to New York. And the hero was like, yeah, I need to move to New York to be close to her because he really wants to pursue a relationship with her. So we've got, from the start of the book, the brother's best friend trope. We've got a situation where the hero moves for the heroine and he's like a pining hero, and he also was part of a kidnapping which was not flushed out very well in the book. I don't really get the point of him being kidnapped and that situation not being resolved too well within the story. But anyway, he is part of the, or at least his family is part of the Irish mob, and they are also involved in his new hockey team. So that is a whole situation. And then additionally, she kind of gets roped into helping the team out in a certain way. I don't want to spoil too much because obviously if you get interested in this book and you want to pick it up, I don't want this to be a spoilery kind of a situation here. But the thing is that there's just so many tropes thrown into this situation. Oh, by the way, they had a one-night stand at some point during a wedding, and they were, or at least the heroine was so drunk that she doesn't really remember it. The hero obviously remembers it, and he's trying to get her to remember their connection. So we've got the one-night stand situation going on as well. So there's just so much going on in this book. And let me tell you, this book is, how many pages is this book? It's like 646 pages for a contemporary sports romance. That was just way too long for me. I think this book could have been split up into 2 books, and then the plot points could have been flushed out better, or otherwise it could have been edited down where the plentiful sex scenes could have been cut, because there's so many sex scenes. I mean, they also get together, I think at the 40 or 50% mark of the book, and from that point on, it's just them having a lot of sex and a lot of situations occurring, because there's also this Big Brother program where there's a kid thrown into the mix with his baggage into the plot. And it's just, there's just a lot going on in this book, let me tell you. So honestly, would I recommend this book? I don't know. I don't think that it's the best kind of a hockey themed romance. The romance itself wasn't bad because we've got the childhood friends to lovers situation, which I do typically like, but then the brother's best friend situation is not handled very well in my opinion. I just hate the way that the brothers get involved, and I don't know. I honestly don't think I would recommend this. It's honestly not my favorite kind of a hockey romance. Now, if we move on to the second book that I read it through Kindle Unlimited. The book is Buck Shy by Kayla Gross. This one is definitely worth it. It's a novella, so it's a short, good time. And I have to say that the novella that is a prequel to this one actually is worth it as well, but that one is themed for the holidays, so for Christmas time. In the first one, we've got relationship between the female main character who is stranded at the airport on Christmas Eve, and she gets picked up by this guy who brings her home, and it turns out that he's in a relationship with another guy, so it's a threesome kind of a situation. And the second book, which is Book Shy, focuses on the heroine from the first book, her sister, and the brother who is the twin brother of one of the heroes of the first book. So we've got a lot of familial kind of situations going on, but even if you haven't read the first book, I think you could still pick up this book because it's really focusing on the relationship between the hero and heroine of this book. Now in this book, we've got a situation where the hero is a famous hockey player. She is a very big fan of their team. However, she's not really the groupie kind of a person. They actually meet on Valentine's Day when both of them are visiting the sex club, and they perform a sex scene together. So there is this very amazing situation going on between them. The sex scenes are just scorching hot. And it's just a short, fun, good time. And even though it's a novella, I found that it was very well rounded, so we could understand the motivations of these characters and why they struggle, or at least the heroine was struggling to commit to the relationship, and we understood her kind of objections to being in a committed relationship and how that was handled within a short period of time. I found that it was tastefully done. So this one I would actually definitely recommend because it's a really short but fun, good time. And then moving on to the update for my latest read, where I think I'm about 25% into Mr. Broody. This one focuses on, so it's a second book within a series, so there is this kind of situation of a whole hockey team where everyone I think is going to be getting their book. I read the first book and I really enjoyed it, and now the second book focuses on a single dad and his childhood kind of girlfriend with whom he had broken up when they were in college. There was a reason for them breaking up, and now he's a single dad because he decided to adopt a kid, which is just amazing. The situation between them is that they were childhood best friends, and they moved into a romantic relationship when they were like 16 or 17 or something like that, and they dated throughout college. So they felt like they were the loves of their lives, essentially. However, he got contracted to be a professional hockey player, and he felt like his girlfriend at the time would not get to live out her dreams because he would be taking her with him. And really she would have to live in his shadow, and she wouldn't be able to do anything that she wants to do, which is travel, because she really, really wanted to travel. So he was like, you know, I love you, you're the love of my life, but I cannot do this to you. I cannot trap you to be in this one city because you have to be here for me. So if you need to get out now, I'm gonna be fine with that. You can leave. So she decided to do that. She decided to travel, but now she has a reason to be back in town for a short period of time. And they obviously still have a very big connection to each other. And the interesting thing is that I'm about 25% in. She is doing this temporary substitution kind of a position in a school where she's going to be a substitution teacher for someone who has just gone into maternity leave. And it turns out that his son is going to be in her class. So there is this situation of a teacher to the kid going on. So I've been having fun with this one because again, it's a duet style narration. So it really takes you on a trip in a very quick way. Like I started this book this morning and then throughout my lunch break, and I cannot get enough of it. I want to continue on after my work day is done. So I really am looking forward to seeing where the relationship heads. So this one is so far so good. And I'm going to be finishing this book, probably not tonight, because we're going to be watching the latest episode of The White Lotus, me and my partner. And then I also promised my son that we're going to go to the store to see if I can buy some yarn to do like the Martinita things that I showed you in the previous clips, because he wants me to teach him to make them like handmade. So I'm going to see whether we can do that. before he goes to bed. So I have some things planned. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish the book, but I'm going to finish it tomorrow and then I'm going to update you for sure. Hello, dear friends. I'm back with my latest update, which will be my last update, I think, because I finished Mr. Broody by Piper Rain and I finally remembered my microphone. I think for the last couple of clips, I didn't use my microphone. Sorry about that. I'm going to see how I'm going to be fixing the sound on this. But anyway, I'm going to be telling you about my thoughts about this book because I don't know what it is about books that don't have a very big kind of conflict within the book that will not hit in the way that books with a big conflict do. There is nothing wrong with not having a big conflict in the book, but it just won't be a 5-star read for me when there is nothing huge to resolve. That's what it boils down to, basically. What happens in this book is we obviously have a second chance romance between Henry and what's her name? I always forget their names. Jade. Jade. So we've got a situation where Henry and Jade are experiencing a second chance romance. They are soulmates. They are the love of each other's life, and they broke up when they got off from college because Henry was supposed to go into professional hockey and Jade kind of needed to find herself because she would follow him anywhere, but then she would kind of lose herself because she doesn't really have a fixed identity for herself to know what she wants in life. So he decided to let her go to explore her life and explore herself and find herself somewhere. And hopefully she would get back to him when she is ready. That was his point in the whole letting her go situation. And the only problem with that for him turned out that while for her to find herself was about 8 years. So he has been waiting for her for a long time. And now that she's finally back, yeah, they just go about reacquainting themselves with one another, with what has been happening with their lives. And he obviously now has a child. He has adopted his child. So that has been a decision that has been interesting, that Jade wants to know more about. And there's just push and pull situations of, Jade thinking, is this a good idea for me to get back and get lost in him? Or do I really want to be with the love of my life? So essentially, this is the main conflict in the book, and also her feeling unsure whether if she were to go into a relationship with him, whether she would be a good mom, because he comes with a package deal with his child now. So I did appreciate the kind of inner monologue, inner discussions about those decisions. And also, her relationship with Bodhi was great. We do get perspective chapters from Bodhi's side, which, whenever you're reading the audiobook, is kind of weird. But anyway, the audiobook production is great because it's done in duet and it's a full cast narration. So all of the people from the hockey team and each and every one has a voice character, so voice narrator. And essentially, the audiobook kind of bumps it up for me when it comes to the enjoyment and experience with the book. So I did really enjoy this book, but it's not going to be a 5-star read for me because, like I mentioned, whenever there is no kind of big conflict to resolve in the book, I'm not saying that not being ready to be a parent and not kind of knowing whether you have found yourself is not a conflict, but just it felt like everything happened very gradually and everything was resolved very kind of naturally, which would be good in normal life. But in a book, I just want to feel some kind of tension, some kind of angst, some kind of struggle or something like that. So for me, this was a 3.5-star read. I did round it up to 4 stars on Goodreads because, like I mentioned, I really highly enjoyed the audiobook for this one. And I've been enjoying the series, so I'm now invested in all these characters. So I'm going to read the next one, which just recently released. What was it called? Mr. Swoony or something like that, I think it's called. So I'm going to continue on in the series because I'm enjoying these audiobooks and they're quite short. When it comes to like a palate cleanser, I'm going to pick this up at some point. And I do have to mention one more thing before I forget. The book is called Mr. Broody, but I don't find that Henry is broody at all. He's just kind of quiet and kind of reserved, more so. She did call him Mr. Broody at one point when she was kind of making jabs at him, but I don't find him to be broody, honestly. So yeah, don't go into this book thinking you're going to get this broody alpha kind of a guy in the book. He's more so uh, almost like a marshmallow golden retriever kind of a guy, but dressed up in a more of a recluse-like jacket. So take that Mr. Broody title with a grain of salt. So yeah, these were essentially all the books that I got to read for this reading vlog. I actually thought that I was going to be able to squeeze in one more, but I've been all over the place this month. I've been reading so many different things because I'm like, Storytel pops up with new titles all the time, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood for that now. Oh, I want to try this out. So I've been all over the place, but that's okay. I still read 3 books for this reading vlog. The first one, not a big success. Didn't really enjoy that one. It was quite too long. I'm talking about Endgame. I really loved Shy by Kayla Gross, and I highly enjoyed this one. Even though I gave it 3.5 stars, I would recommend this one actually, especially if you read the first book and then move on to this one. You get invested in the characters, in the found family aspect within this book. So yeah, definitely an enjoyable read. So I will count it as a successful reading vlog because I did have fun. And in the next couple of clips, I hope, because I'm bad at vlogging when I'm not at home because I feel awkward among people to film stuff. But I'm going to try to show you the painting with wine date that I have with some girlfriends of mine. I'm going to see when I'm going to be able to post those clips. But anyway, if that is not the case, then I'll see you in the next one. And if you get to see me later on, then I'll round it up then. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you, Vanessa, for inviting me to do this collab, and I'll see you in the next one.
I finally got a hold of the last piece of the gift that I need for my friend, which is The Right Move by Listam 40. And now I'm going to meet them up for the painting with wine that I'm going to show you as well. And there is a very cute thing. Look at this. And I'm going up to meet my friends, and I'm gonna show you the painting when it's done. And I'm gonna be wrapping up this vlog. So if you don't see me anymore, have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care. Bye-bye.